This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, New Eternia, Evil-Lyn figure. Just a note on this box, we do see some of the Skelecons there that we know are supposed to be coming out soon and probably a Mattel Creations exclusive. Might actually be one of the troop builders that I don't bother with too much. So I want to note on the artwork for Evil-Lyn here, as I think everybody is aware at this point, I have an issue with the breast reduction that they've done on the action figures over the last 10 years or so. Because we've got a mighty amount of cleavage here in the artwork. And we don't have that in the figure. On this side, we see Panther and some more Skelecons. And the moon looks kind of freaky. Kind of reminds me of the planet the mutants come from in the New Adventures line. And on the side, we do have some more artwork of Evil-Lyn there. Nice headshot and her doing her magic. And on the back, we have what I'm going to assume is actually a prototype Evil-Lyn figure. Because what we will note, and I will probably pop up an additional image of this box here when I pull the figure out and talk about this too. The breast design is actually different on the back of the box figure than it is on the actual figure itself. Evil-Lyn, Evelyn Morgan Powers. Not to be mistaken with Elisa Morgan Powers from Empowered. Evelyn Morgan sold her soul to the Subterranean warrior goddess. She was given powers beyond her dark imagination, changing her forever into Evil-Lyn. Okay, come on, people. Is Evelyn Morgan supposed to be like a hyphenated first name in this case? Because I assume that was kind of a middle name thing. Because it kind of threw me off reading the Evelyn Morgan sold. Like, Evelyn Powers would have been fine. Or Evelyn Morgan Powers would have been fine, but just Evelyn Morgan just seemed kind of a weird way to put it. And actually, that name does come from the 2000X series, by the way. Let's go ahead and open her up. Seems like the tape at the top was already loose. I remembered partway through why I usually open these from the bottom. We got a little bit of artwork here on the side showing all the additional parts and the figure that's in here. I don't know why, but I actually really like this black and white style imagery. I just want to say the baggie here feels kind of funky to me. It's like some weird plastic paper hybrid. The world's longest dildo. We got a couple magic hands, which, if you might remember, these are the same ones we've gotten with other ones, where if you kind of hold them together, you can make the little heart. A couple fists for fighting. Her cape pulled out of the back. That's going to be kind of interesting to figure out here in a minute. Whoa. Damn. That seems to be an issue here. Oh, man. I don't know if this is just really poorly manufactured here on the side, causing this much gap over here. Because that's more than on the other side. Or if it's just the stuff's not, like, the skirt piece isn't sitting right. Like, if I heat this... Well, no, that's not even the skirt piece, though. That's the solid piece there. It looks like... Yeah, who thought that you'd be watching a video of a action figure's crotch today, huh? It does look like the... where the hips are attached, or the pegs for the hips, that they are not... properly centered in the diaper area. Seriously, that's the drop down hip thing. I understand it, but that is awful. If anybody else has picked up this figure, let me know if this is happening on yours too. I mean, okay, so we kind of get it back up in place, but there's still more of a gap in there than there should be. And that one is pulling down way further than the other one does. Like, that is far more normal than this. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the hell is going on this side. Also, the cape had popped off as mentioned before. Let's see if we can give you guys a good look at this here. More crotch shots here. There's a little slot in the back of her fur piece there. I think you might be able to see it here. I won't really know for sure until I see this full screen when I edit. But yeah, it goes up in that slot, so let's try to get that in position now. All right. While the plastic piece seems to be in position, the cape itself does not seem to be centered on the plastic piece. So, okay, so that's strike 2. But I guess at least they gave this version of Evil-Lyn a cape. Although, I wonder, is it supposed to go the other way? Shiny side forward? Will that make a difference? But yeah, look here. This is how much of this is off on that side. There's not as much on the other. No, that has to be the way because there's a curvature here. So yeah, it has to go in here because there is a curvature to that plastic. So yeah, okay. Shiny side on her back. Dull side on the front. Well, let's just go ahead and take a look at the boob thing again. Might as well, right? So in the artwork in the back, you can clearly see that, and I'll have that popped up here somewhere on the screen with this. So actually, let's see. So on the figure image on the back, you can clearly see that her breasts are 2 separate orbs at the cleavage area. Because you can kind of see it rounding out just at the mark where the top of her, for lack of a better term, corset is at on the box, but they don't have that here. So from the point of which they came up with the prototype that they took pictures of and the point of manufacturing, they again kind of reduced the appearance of her breasts. They don't even stick out particularly far either, you know. And this is, again, you know, we had years of people complaining about the size of Barbie's boobs when a lot of that had to do with just being able to fit the clothing on her and have it stay in place because it's a plastic doll. But now, you know, we get these different body types. The one thing they don't do with Barbie or these action figures in the mainstream market is give us different sized boobs on the figures. As any overweight individual will tell you, your breasts tend to be bigger than normal. And they're the same size on the like curvy Barbies as they are on the skinny Barbies. Because V has picked up a few of the different Barbie types, especially she wanted they had the pale body in Made to Move in the curvy Barbie, and she wanted that to swap out with her apple white head. But let's go ahead and get back to talking about the figure itself here, herself. They've gone back to single jointed elbows on the female figures. That's hugely disappointing. And we don't even get a complete 90-degree bend in her arm. She also does not have a bicep cut. Jesus Christ. I think we're looking at the end of the line here, guys. Generally speaking, when they start removing articulation from figures and dolls, that's just when we're getting to the point where they're going to start canceling stuff, you know? Her head is on the ball joint. There's a little give up here. Not as much as a lot of the other figures have. But the female necks are a little bit thinner, so that's probably why. She only comes with the one head, which is also kind of disappointing in my opinion, but it is a really nice head sculpt. I'm not going to lie, I do like this. I just wish they would just I wish they would continue to give us second heads with Evil-Lyn without the helmet on. But this is, of course, an updated version of the... Basically, it's the updated version of the original Evil-Lyn style for all intents and purposes. In fact, based on the way all this is designed, I would not be surprised if we got a Tila made from the exact same body with a different crotch piece. Pretty much. Because overall, there's nothing about this figure that screams Evil-Lyn only. So, you know, if they'd given us... If New Eternia had gone with more of the 2000X version of Evil-Lyn, you know, that would be Evil-Lyn only body. This, however, can easily be repainted into Tila, which is going to be a disappointment again because no bicep cut, no double jointed elbows. However, we still have the hinge up and down and the spin. I think I may have already covered that. No bicep cut, single elbow. We do have a spin at the wrist and the in and out articulation. We do have the boob cut. And we do have a ball joint in there so we can kind of get a little bit more wiggle room and the pseudo crunch for the ab area. We just have a plain spin at the waist. We already talked about the drop down hips and how off center that is on this figure, on mine at least. They did leave us with the thigh cut at least, thank goodness. And we still have the double jointed knees as well. Thank you. I'm sure that thigh cut's going to be the next thing they cut out though. We have the boot cut with the spin. Let's be honest, the boot cut will probably always remain in there because, you know, it's easier that way. And the thighs and the boots generally can be reused on multiple figures. Hinge at the foot and the spin. Okay, so we've got her small staff here. Oh my gosh. Oh, those hands are very, very hard. Oh, dear God. Look at that. I've already stressed the plastic just trying to get the thing in our hand. Also, to note, while they did cheap out on the articulation, they did paint her fingernails. So I guess we got that much. Hopefully if they do a Tila, which again, I suspect that we will get a repaint of most of this figure with a new part here to make a new Eternia Tila. So we have options with her staff. We've got just the crystal ball type thing, which goes more with her original toy and kind of like what they've done with a lot of the media. But we also have that so we can connect it as the full, well, semi-full staff. Man, come to think of it, they didn't even bother to give us a full wizard staff for her. They just kind of gave us a tiny one. So I guess we can go ahead and, you know, she can hold it more like this, but, you know, she's not going to be using it kind of like a walking stick type of thing, which I guess maybe not anyway, but I don't know. Maybe one more piece like this, but even longer so that, you know, whoops, when she holds it up, you know, you can have the tip on the ground there, which also kind of can help us with balancing. The other issue with this cape here, though, is that the fabric just keeps on winding backwards. So standing neutral, it's barely visible. Oh, man. See, now we can kind of recreate some of those scenes, you know, with like her using her magic on her staff or whatever. But like with the double joint, we can kind of get them a little better together, and the bicep cut would have really helped with that as well. I was kind of bothered when we went to single joints on some of the bulkier figures, like Snout Spout and, of course, the Horde Trooper. I didn't really expect them to do that in these mainline figures as well. And I guess we'll have to see with Flying Fist He-Man and Fisto if they are also going down to the single joint in the elbows, and if they've cut out the bicep swivel as well. The thing is, like, yeah, sure, I'm kind of complaining that this isn't an EvilLyn only body. Again, I would have liked to have seen them go for more of the 2000X look for it. So aside from my complaint about them giving her like a 2-cup size reduction from her prototype figure and the artwork that we've seen, overall, I do like this sculpt. I think in the head, the face sculpt is just great. I appreciate that they've painted the fingernails. I would like to have seen a longer staff if they were going to give us a second staff piece. I honestly feel like with like Evil-Lyn, you don't need fists, so we could have done away with those and gotten something better. The magic hands, yeah, that makes sense to have, you know. But I really thought that this was going to be a great figure, and it is good. Again, don't get me wrong, I have my complaints. I'm very disappointed in the reduction of articulation in the female figure and the reduction of the boobs. I'm sure somebody in the comments going to mention how many times I've said the word boobs, so let's just throw in there some more, huh? Boobs, boobs, boobs. There is no reason to keep doing this. I don't understand what toy companies have against the female form and properly doing it. Women have different size breasts, and I think the average in the United States is a C cup. When they manufacture action figures, we get these barely Bs. Or if you look at like, you know, Super 7's new version of CoverGirl, A's, you know. But I guess that rant will end my look at the Evil-Lyn figure here. And let me know what you think. Does the lack of articulation bother you? I know from collecting the Rainbow High dolls that a lot of the Rainbow High collectors I know that a lot of the Rainbow High doll collectors are also very upset that MGA has reduced the articulation on those dolls as well. But again, that's why I say when this kind of stuff happens, when they start cheaping out on articulation or on clothing with the dolls and action figures, that's when you kind of know the line is coming to an end. As V put it yesterday when she was looking at those the little toddler Rainbow High dolls, is like, this is barely better than the dolls you get at the dollar store. I'm going to try to quote this. They should just end on a high note rather than give us this kind of garbage. But anyway, again, let me know what you think in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the way they've been restyling the female bodies and the lack of articulation, as mentioned before? And if you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and subscribe. If you want to hit that notification bell, you can. It never works for me, to be perfectly honest, but maybe it does for you. And I thank you for watching. Peace and love.